Yo, what's going on, friends? Welcome back to another spectacular, amazing episode of In Madness Pod. I think this is 16.5. It's Sean the Butcher. I'm here, as always, with my buddy Vertebrae 33. What's going on?
What's happening, Sean? How are you? How you doing?
I'm very good because, once again, we are doing something new on In Madness Pod, as opposed to our breaking up movies into two different parts, as opposed to these 0.5 episodes where it's just me and you nerding out about stuff.
Yep.
We have been talking heavily about getting guests for our 0.5s, and I reached out to my man Mike from panic_room_toys on Instagram, and any other things you want to shout out, Mike.
No, thanks for having me, guys. This is my first podcast, so bear with me.
This is the first time you've ever been on a podcast.
Yes.
Oh, see, we're always breaking new ground.
We're honored. Yeah,
that's so cool. Thank you for being here.
Thanks for having me. I'm just happy to be here.
Yes, we're very happy to have you. So I was telling you right before we started recording, I've been following you for a while on the socials, on just my regular account. And when we started the In Madness socials, I began following you again, and you recently commented on one of our posts, and I love what you do on your page, panic_room_toys. So thank you for commenting on the In Madness pod page.
Yeah, I think it was the iguana in the Terminator movie.
Yes. Pugsley.
Pugsley.
What do you think, Mike? What do you think, Mike? Do you think he got blown away, or you think?
Yeah, I think he did. I had an iguana growing up, and the way she held that thing, or the way she grabbed at it, I think it was her pet because she knew how to hold it, and also it was on her shoulder, and the thing was hissing, and most people would be scared, but she was fine. Either she knew the iguana or it was her pet or something.
That was her transformation into becoming the leader that she was, Sarah Connor. First, she had to deal with the hissing of Pugsley.
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah, but over the sound of the hissing, it was just like bum, 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 bum. Yeah, exactly. So, Mike, before we jump into what you do, does any of the time stuff from Terminator or Terminator 2 make sense to you? Can you explain that to me? Like they go back. And I'm putting you on the spot. We didn't prepare, Mike, for this at all. But
I think it gets kind of crazy in the later movies, but it's the Terminator coming back from the future because the little kid becomes the leader of the whole thing, so they want to kill him. What happens in the later ones? I don't know. Terminator 2 was great, but after that, I kind of lost interest a little bit.
Yeah, it gets a little. I haven't seen them.
That's very hard. You haven't seen any of them?
I saw T1 and T2. I never saw the other ones at all. I kind of just sort of missed their existence until we did the podcast. But even T1, like there's an arm, and then they wouldn't be able to create the thing without the arm. And Sean knows I end up going down. He tells me just to enjoy the film, but
Vertebrae tends to fall down these rabbit holes, but they are all very significantly important rabbit holes that he falls down.
I can bring us back around again every time.
I guess I'm more like Sean. I'm just watching a moving picture,
And that's my problem. I zone out too much during movies, and half the time I'll be watching it. Have you seen Color Out of Space, Mike?
Yes.
That is one of our favorites on In Madness, and I watched that movie twice full through without picking up on the water theme, not even once. That's how deep I zone into the movies, is that I didn't even know that water had anything to do with it, when water is like the primary focus of the entire movie.
Yes.
Oh, was it?
Yeah.
It's been a while. It's been
so Mike, head back. Listen to our Colorado Space episode. We will dive deep into it. You'll find out about what is our milking of the alpacas moment from that movie that we take out of it. And it's crazy. We said the name, but tell us exactly what you do on Instagram.
Well, what I do is I do toy photography. I've had a collection for 25 years. I remember seeing the movie Puppet Master, and I was like, I gotta have one of these little figures. And so I went online, and they have all the figures. So I bought Blade, And then I had to have them all. So I have this huge collection that spawned, from Pup Master to McFarlane Toys back in the day. I had a collection forever. I was always taking pictures of the collection, but now I started seeing some people using some practical effects like dirt, blood. I've even used milk. So that caught my eye. I watched a bunch of YouTube videos. I've been doing it about a year and a half, and I just kind of got obsessed with it.
Was the milk you used for the Ash picture?
That was the Ash picture. Yeah.
Ash.
And Mike, are you a professional photographer? Or?
No, God, no. I mean, I bought a camera, like a real camera, a year and a half ago.
Okay.
So that's when you started taking pictures, a year and a half ago.
Yeah.
I mean, your work is so I took my tax return one year and I want to start taking pictures of bands, and I bought myself a camera, and for a while it was going good. And then for whatever reason, I could not get a clear picture for the life of me. It just happened one day and it did not stop happening forever. So like Bart Simpson always says, and I quote The Simpsons many times on this podcast, but I didn't get good at it immediately. So I gave up, and I feel like such a dick. And that's amazing that you've made such incredible progress through your photography in such a short amount of time.
Yeah, I appreciate that. I mean, that was like me. I wanted to start learning how to do magic, and I started to get into it. I was like, no fucking way.
Like cards or like what?
Cards and levitation of objects, and you got to mess with this string that's like smaller than a fishing wire, and I can't really see that well, so it was just a failure, But
is that how you make some of the pictures that you make with that small fishing wire? Because
I use wires. I don't use a small fishing wire. Just like wires to make them fly or to make them run. It's a lot of setup. They fall all the time, but so a lot goes into it.
Just to explain, because I feel like we know, but we didn't explain. So the Instagram is chock full of horror characters, in different environments and settings, mixed in with there's a bunch of Star Wars references, and Alf. The Alf one is awesome.
The Alf, thanks.
And I love. I mean, there's the RoboCop Grogu one, which is fantastic.
Yeah.
But I love the ones that are like sort of the intimate, happy, weird ones, especially like the holiday ones where it's like Freddy and somebody else in like a holiday setting. Like I just think they make them even weirder when they're in that like supposed to be like a jovial setting.
Yeah, I try to do something a little different. There's so much toy photography with like Star Wars and stuff. I try to make Freddy and Jason holding hands, or some kind of crazy mashup.
So my question to you, how long does it take you to get that shot, the one that you finally go with?
It takes a while because I think about it and then I'll make it happen. But there's so many that I call failed shots, just like, it just doesn't work. But, it could take, a few days to get everything set up just right. And, the posing and the lighting and all that, it takes hours.
You have like lighting equipment, like the umbrellas and the bulbs and all.
I don't have umbrellas. I have what they're called loom cubes, and they're wireless. You could be outside and have 3 of those and set them up. And I use the sun a lot, of course, too. I like the outdoor shots. I don't really do a lot of dioramas. I've kind of tried, but I just like the outdoor with the smoke or the dust or the blood. Milk.
So I noticed you use firecrackers to like make explosions in the background. Yeah. Where did you get that idea from? Or did it occurred to you one day to try it out?
I've seen other guys do it, and you have to have a 50 millimeter lens. So you don't have to, but I do, which will capture the sparks a lot better. It's really cool. I've burned a few figures up. If I
see with the dirt, when you make the dirt kick up, you do it with like a straw, and you blow it and like snap a million.
Well, there's this it's a toilet plunger. You pump air into a toilet, and it's like a red gun you shoot and it'll go up, or you just throw it. You just you just hold your finger down so the camera's going. Throw the dirt, and it kind of makes a cloud.
That's sick.
Yeah,
That's incredible.
That's awesome. Mike, are you wearing a Void shirt? Is that the Void?
yeah.
Oh, that we gotta. I know what's on the list.
It's on the list.
We got. Oh, maybe we got a thing coming up.
Yeah,
that might be good for our thing coming up.
And yeah, oh yeah. And then today we're recording this. I'm gonna give it away because we never tell when we're recording stuff. But I have to say this one. It's HP Lovecraft's birthday today.
Happy birthday,
so
Lovecraft.
We're recording. You're wearing a Void shirt, and I've got one of my Cthulhu.
Oh, cool.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, nice. I picked the perfect shirt then.
Yeah. So you wore the perfect shirt for this. So you have like posters behind you.
Yeah.
I saw there was more. There was a shot where it was like a toy, like a little video where it was inside the house and kind of went outside the house. I saw a row of posters.
Yeah.
And I'm a huge geek. So I try to like pause the video to like creep on you and see what posters are hanging on the wall. But now I don't have to. Now you can tell me what posters.
Yeah. Those are more Mondo prints. It's Creep Show, Friday 13th, Army of Darkness.
Nice.
Yeah.
Very cool.
How long have you been a horror fan for?
Since I was a kid.
You remember your first horror movie you ever saw?
Is probably one of the Friday 13th because we had HBO and Cinemax growing up. So I was, like 10 years old watching Jason, smash a girl in a sleeping bag against a tree, So I got into horror movies very early. They scared the shit out of me. But yeah, I mean, I grew up watching Friday 13th, Texas Chainsaw Massacres, Nightmare on Elm Streets. So I've been a fan since I was 10 years old.
Yeah, my mom would always run in and be like, "Turn this off right now." I was withheld from this for so long in my life, which is why I am now doing a podcast mostly about those movies because it's like a cherished. It was forbidden, so I wanted it. I wanted even more.
Yeah.
We should have her on, Sean.
Oh, my mom, she'd be a trip.
We'll just list the movies that would be appropriate for you to watch.
Yeah.
Appropriate for you to watch.
I remember Nightmare on Elm Street. My cousin brought over Nightmare on Elm Street, just the beginning where the girl's running through the things. And my mom was in another room and she goes, "What is that? Turn it off." And I was like,
it's funny. We do this horror podcast, and Mike, I have a good friend of mine who lives. You live in Georgia. He lives in Georgia too, outside Atlanta. And he always will send me pictures of these gigantic spiders that you guys have in certain places down there, like much bigger than the Northeast. Some of these, like I think they're cone spiders, maybe or whatever.
Yeah, there's some big spiders and snakes too.
And Sean. So I have to admit some. So Sean has admitted recently that he had an incident at a death metal show. So we do this horror movie podcast, this weirdness. And today, before I'm about to go on, I go down in my basement and there's one of those like giant cave cricket. I call them cave crickets, but like
those things. Yeah.
I'm immediately like so terrified, and my wife has to come downstairs to kill it for me. And I was like, "Oh man!" And she's like, "Yeah, you're jumping on to be on a horror movie podcast in in a half hour, but you're on the steps." Like, I'm not going downstairs.
I was laying on the couch a couple days ago, and my girlfriend texted me, and she's like, "Can you please come downstairs? I'm having a standoff with a cricket." So I caught him and I threw him outside. So it's so funny that me and your wife swapped places, and I did that for her. But there's another one still in the basement, and he is loud as hell. I guarantee you, if I kept everything quiet and opened the door right now, you can hear him. He is so loud.
I'm okay with
and you don't pay rent, so he's driving me crazy.
I think the regular ones are kind of cute. It's those, but I call them cave crickets. I think people call them spider crickets. Some with like a million legs. They're very Lovecraftian creature looking.
Yeah, they have those long back legs.
Yes. And they don't have like rhyme or reason. They kind of just jump wherever when you go to get them.
Yeah, they can just jump right on your face.
They're unpredictable. Hell yeah.
So
how long you been collecting toys, Mike?
Oh, since I was a kid, but I guess I got serious like 20 years ago.
Do you have any idea, estimate roundabout number, how many toys you think you have in your collection?
I would say a couple grand.
Yeah, a couple thousand, right?
Yeah.
So sick. And you have like, how do you store all that? Like,
I got a room.
Just everything's in one room.
Yeah, and I have I have pegboards for the carded figures, and I have slat wall for the loose ones with shelves. But yeah, I actually sold quite a bit last few years. But it really hasn't made a dent. It's still a huge collection.
Out of your thousands, do you have one that you cherish more than any of the others?
Yeah, I have a Blade skull prop from Puppet Master 3.
Sick.
And
Nice.
that's worth the most, and that's my favorite.
Nice. Where do you stand on Thing toys? Do you have some of the old Thing toys of the McFarlane?
I do.
ones, or-
Yeah, I have some of those. I know NECA's coming out with some.
Yes.
With the dog. Yeah.
The dog looks sick. NECA has been released. So many of the toys I have are NECA, and most of them I don't even take out of the box because like they know how to package a product. Like you don't want to take it out of the box. So
it's
cool.
like art. It is art. I used to be all in the box, and now I'm starting to just take everything out, because I'm really done selling, or I don't really care how much money it's going to go up in a few years or whatever.
Yeah, that was me recently. I think I had sent you a picture, Sean, where I went through. I'd gotten a new case that's over my shoulder with a bunch of toys in it, and I was like, "What am I doing?" I had all these like Attack of the Clones figures and Phantom Menace and all these random Batman and all this stuff, and I just went through a bonanza where I was like, I'm gonna just open every single, like, what am I'm not gonna post this. I know I'm not gonna sell it. Like
it's fun too, opening it,
Oh, it felt great. Yeah.
Like an opening party.
Yeah, there's just a massive pile of all the packaging in my home.
And the smell of that plastic is such a rush too.
What any toys you're excited for that are gonna be coming out soon?
The new Chucky
from
the TV show.
Cool.
The Thing figure for sure. I know NECA's got some other stuff. Maybe some Killer Clowns. Could use some Killer Clowns, some Trick or Treat toys. I don't know. What I've always wanted is Revenge of the Nerds toys.
Oh, cool.
A Booger, a Gilbert, a Lewis.
They've never made them?
No, they never made them.
That sounds like a job for NECA.
Yeah, but McFarlane Toys, they did Movie Maniacs a long time ago, that line. And but they've come back out with more. Have you seen that?
So it's like, but isn't it like Harry Potter and
Harry
something?
Potter and who else? The show with the guy from Saturday Night Live. I can't think of it right now. But yeah, it's like the Wicked Witch from Oz. It's totally lame. It's not really.
I have those original movie I saw my first job ever was KB Toys because I made sure if I was going to work anywhere, it was going to be in a toy store, and we would get the boxes in the back, and there'd be like 5 crows and 1 Chucky, and I'd be like, yoink. So I got a lot of those rare Movie Maniacs toys. I loved those. That was such a great series.
Yeah. KB Toys, Toys R Us, Spencer's at the mall. If you remember that.
Yeah. I mean, Spencer's still around. I don't know what they do with toys now, but they're still.
I don't think they have much. They have a lot of like sex gifts, like a dick pencil and stuff like that. Every time I go in there, I don't know.
In the back.
I had a part-time job once as overnight at a Toys R Us. And it was the overnight stock. So they literally lock you into the store.
I just shove it all under your shirt.
What's crazy is I'm like a young kid, but I'm with grown adults who like that's their job. Right. I'm not taking anything seriously. I made a wall in the Barbie section and slept for an hour because I was like, nobody can see me around these Barbies. But I would dig into like any toys and like, okay, open the box and then hide. So you couldn't buy it because the store's not open, but like go hide it behind something else that nobody wants and then go get it when the store opens. But the people arrive and let you out, and then there's a good hour and a half before the store opens. So I remember being let out and then like going out and falling asleep in my car and then like going back in when the store opened.
Oh my God. Yeah. So you hit action figures, huh? I've seen that. Sometimes I used to go to Toys R Us. I'd look in other sections to find where people hid these figures. And
Mike had the drop on your idea, Vertebrae. He's like, I know somebody's doing this shit.
You know what's so funny is there was a dude, I was at a Target, and I think I was chasing like maybe some Star Wars Black Series figures or something at the time. There's a period of time where I was like obsessed with getting every single one of them. And I'm in there, and he comes down the aisle, and he walks past, and he has a Star Wars shirt on. He walks past me to like another area and like pulls 3 toys out of the way and plucks out like a Black Series from behind it. Like he had put it away before when he couldn't buy. And I'm watching it go down, and I mean, I can't complain because I did it. And I'm like, oh, look at you, you know,
like, son of a bitch.
Mike,
the worst is the people that are actually taking open the boxes and putting something else in there, you know.
Yeah. Like, oh, I've seen that online.
Instead of a Crow figure, a G.I. Joe or something, you know.
Right, which would be worse now because of all the boxes that are not open. Now they're doing the packaging with the right. You can't really see them. They have the slip. Well, they do have the slip.
Yeah, like the Ultimates.
Yeah.
Mike, do you have any Godzilla toys?
I do have a Godzilla toy, and I have some mini buildings too.
I was going to ask you because you got one of my favorite pictures of yours is Freddy on the crumbled building shooting the fire out of his mouth like Godzilla. And I'm like, where does he get these buildings from? Because I need some cool props. Like I have a couple of buildings, but they don't look nearly as cool as the ones you have.
iPop Designs is where you get them. He's got all kinds of stuff. I need to do a shoot with Godzilla in the building. It's pretty hard to get the fire right and like the background. But yeah, so you're obviously a big Godzilla fan.
I am, and we talk about it on every single episode because I'm like, if I'm part of this podcast, I am obsessed. I have a really weird, unhealthy obsession with. He's tattooed on my leg. I have posters and toys and comic books and movies. Pluto TV just made a 24-hour Godzilla network, and Pluto TV is free, so that's all I've been watching. And it's none of it's English dub, so there's been nothing but Japanese going through my entire house the entire time. It's so awesome. It is on my bucket list to go to Japan. I want to go to the Godzilla hotel, go to the zip line into the Godzilla's mouth, the whole thing. But yeah, so I have so many Godzilla toys. They're all downstairs because I recently moved into a new place. I don't have any of them near me, but yeah, I was just hoping that if you have thousands of toys, that there would be some Godzillas in there.
I got a couple of Godzillas. Yeah.
That's awesome, Mike. So I have a friend of mine who does something similar. Like there's a big community of people who do this with toy photography, and he does stuff with superheroes. John has met him before. His handle online is Psycho Ninja 47. And often I have done New York Comic Con in the past, and he's gone and helped me out at my booth where I sell my shirts and art and stuff. And people would come to the booth just to see him because they talked to him online. And it was crazy because there's this whole community, right? There's community in anything, but this like really sort of pleasant community of other people who do toy photography. And they would come up and they would like meet each other for the first time in real life. And I'm watching this and it's amazing because a lot of online communities are usually, not the nicest, or they're at each other's heels or whatever. Have you been reached out to people, or do you know about sort of that online community of?
Yeah, I do. I'm in a group where we do collabs. Like, so this week it'll be this horror icon against another horror icon. But yeah, there's no drama in the toy community. It's just, it's just awesome shot. There's nothing else. There's no negativity. No one says like, your shot sucks. It's all positive. And when you meet people, that they've always been nice,
What made you want to start doing this? What made you want to start doing this?
I think I just had this huge collection, and I thought to myself, well, let's take some different pictures instead of the collection over and over and over,
More people need to enjoy this. If you're just tuning in, whatever, maybe you just got in your friend's car. We're talking to Mike from Panic_Room_Toys on Instagram. I love this dude's photography. We're here on episode 16.5. We just wrapped up doing Terminator and Terminator 2, which was awesome. And I love you have some Terminator pictures on. That was the first thing I saw. I was like, oh, cool. He's got the metal exoskeleton. So badass. All the I love that the pictures you have all look like things are happening like in motion. Like none of your pictures are just like guys standing around, whatever. It all looks like things are happening. Like how do you make that happen?
Yeah, it's the posing, and it's also the dirt kicking up, or the smoke. Yeah, a lot of people just have a portrait of a figure, which is cool, but like you said, I want to have some kind of motion, running, flying, jumping, something, just to make it interesting.
And you edit all those videos because I know it's like you show the thing and then it goes into your camera and then you get the shot. And if it was only ever that seamless.
Yeah, I do edit in Photoshop. The new Photoshop beta has the AI, which is pretty crazy. I've been using that just a little bit to extend the background to like the shot of Jason and Freddy holding hands. That was just them on some dirt. But with AI, I could expand the canvas, and say create a forest, and so it'll just seamlessly put a forest in there. I'm not. I know a lot of people are against AI, but it's Photoshop work like people were doing before. There people are doing, their background was a monitor with space, or they totally Photoshop it up. A lot of people are saying don't use AI, but I'm not using it to like, put another head on Jason. It's just for just background stuff.
We do have many extensive conversations about AI on In Madness Pod.
Yeah. So, I mean, listen, as in Mike wouldn't know this, but as a professional illustrator, obviously I have issues with it as like as the original choice of something.
Sure.
Right. Like, and what you're saying is you're using it to extend beyond you're creating. I mean, I would say your layouts and stuff that you have in your pieces are fantastic. Do you have an art background?
I used to paint, and I'm a developer, and I used to be a website designer. So yeah, I have some background. Right. I'm just a coder now.
Right. Okay. Because your compositions are really well done, and I can see, I see an eye for that, like you said, rather than just kind of shots. Like I'm drawn into it. Some are straight shots, but there's other stuff where it's like, okay, that really, he was really working on this composition, and I'm like, I wondered like, oh, is that happy accidents, or does he have an innate eye, or like, he just started this 1.5 years ago and he's really good at it, and I've been drawing my entire life and I still struggle with drawing hands. I got a little jealous, but that's okay. That's all right. It's all good.
I don't know. I'd like to see your stuff.
Well, but it's awesome. I think the work is amazing. It speaks to everything we've talked about on this podcast.
It's everything. It's art, it's photography, it's horror, it's comedy, it's dark, it's happy. It's like everything that we do here on In Madness. It's in that world. All the figures you take pictures of are all movies we're covering or already have covered on this show. And yeah, we like to extend to all different walks of life, whether it's music, whether it's art, photography, books and all that. I'm looking forward to having many more awesome guests for these 0.5s. The same place you mentioned before with the buildings, is that where you get the little props for like the beer glasses and the bar background and stuff? Because I know you have some awesome pictures.
Yeah, I mean, Amazon's good. Just search 1/12-inch scale accessories, and you can find anything, because a lot of this stuff is for dollhouses too. So if you wanted a little shovel, you probably get a better result searching dollhouse shovel, and it'll fit an 8-inch figure.
Okay.
So there's bathtubs, horses, everything.
How do you plan these things out? Do you have like a board and you're like, I'm going to do this shot this day and this character this day? Or
I don't really write it. I just think about it. Like when I can't sleep sometimes is usually when I'm like, all right, or if I'm worrying about something, I'll say, all right, let's think about an idea, or just get like 5 or 6 figures out and just start posing them and just see what happens.
Isn't it great that you get to still play with your toys?
Sometimes I'm worried my neighbor's going to look over the fence and be like, Mike, what are you doing?
Follow my Instagram. My Instagram.
What are you doing with these toys in your backyard, laying down? with lights. Yeah.
It just seems like so much fun. It's great that you could still keep it going after all these years.
Yeah.
And like, I'm gonna rejuvenate because right now I keep all my toys in like a glass case, you know. And right now they're all in a basement in a box. But the second they come out, they're just gonna be standing here. Like, I want to do what you're doing. Like, give them more of a purpose. Let the world know. Because Vertebrae, even behind him, there's a huge glass case. It's full of toys. I think next to that, there's another glass case full of toys. We're all nerds. We're all collectors.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's amazing. We love, absolutely love what you do, and we look forward to some Killer Clowns. Will you do some Killer Clowns stuff?
Yeah. Well, so what do you have lined up? Like, what do you think your next? Are you thinking about your next shot and what it might be?
I'm thinking about in October Halloween shot, maybe Freddy as the witch on a broom, something like that, cackling. I think in one of the movies he was a witch.
Have you seen the movie The Witch?
Yes.
Are you a fan of that movie?
Yeah. So we did The Witch. That's a two-parter. That was
our first two-parter.
I saw that one on your Instagram. Yeah.
Oh yeah, so much to take in. That Robert Eggers sends our heads spinning around all over the place.
Gotta love Black Phillip.
By the time we're done,
Black Phillip, one of my favorite villains, next to Miss Carmody in The Mist.
Wait, there's no toy of Black Phillip, right?
There's a pop. I have the pop. It's still downstairs. I haven't posted the picture of the pop yet.
No, I haven't seen a toy. I guess you could just buy a black sheep and call it that. I didn't know they had a pop of that. That's funny.
Yeah. I got a Black Phillip pop. It's somewhere downstairs. When I eventually get it out of its box, I will post a picture of it. But don't forget to follow us on the socials at InMadnessPod, InMadnessPod@gmail.com. We're also on Threads. We're also on YouTube. We have the In Madness playlist full of a bunch of songs from movies that we talk about. Mike, what music are you listening to right now? What kind of music are you a fan of?
Right now, I'm addicted to the new Avenged Sevenfold.
I'm happy to hear you're a rock dude.
Yeah, I've never been a huge fan until someone told me that the new album sounds like Mr. Bungle, who I love, and it kind of does. But I've been listening to that a lot. I love the deathcore, Hunt the Dinosaur. Been listening to a lot of that. Bro Job. I don't know if you guys ever heard of Bro Job.
These are all new bands I've never heard of. Keep going. Keep tell me some more bands that you're into right now.
I've been listening to Melted Bodies.
Oh, I've heard of Melted Bodies. Yes.
It's almost like
Mike disappeared.
No, it's
here we go.
There he goes.
Yeah, Melted Bodies. Listen to that. Moontooth.
Oh, Moontooth. Shout out to Moontooth. Long Island, New York. Some of Vertebrae did art for Moontooth.
I did art for Moontooth, and that's Sean's buddies with the band.
Yeah, really? Long Island, New York, hometown homies. Shout out to Moontooth. Very cool. Yeah, all those dudes live within like 5 minutes from me.
Okay.
Cool.
Yeah, the guitarist had that health issue recently.
Nick Lee. Shout out to Nick Lee. He is alive and kicking. The boy is doing well. Much love to Nick Lee. He had to
relearn the songs, right? That's crazy.
Yeah, I heard that happened once to Dave Mustaine of Megadeth. I heard he fell asleep on a sofa and woke up and his arm was like paralyzed and he had to like get it to move. And then he had to relearn all the songs. And he's like, now I play them faster, which is friggin' nuts.
That's crazy. Yeah. Was he crankier before or after? Yeah.
I mean, going by now, he's pretty cranky no matter what. But
he's so bitter.
Yeah, shout out to Mustaine and Megadeth. Shout outs to Mike, panic_room_toys on Instagram. If you're a fan of horror movies, if you're a fan of art, if you're a fan of photography, if you're a fan of this show, I follow him. We all follow him. You should be following him too. And encourage, only positive encouragement. Don't be a hater. The man is doing some amazing work here, and it's amazing to have you on our 0.5. Thank you for hanging out with us, man. Yeah. It's been great to have you here.
Awesome.
Vertebrae, do you have any closing comments for this 0.5?
No, I think it's great. You're the professional, so you handled that. Perfectly.
Yeah. Well, so before we end any episode, Mike, we give a teaser of what our next movie is going to be, and usually we give it away so goddamn on the nose that it is impossible to get it wrong. But you'd be surprised how everybody usually always gets it wrong. So for our last episode, when we wrapped up Terminator 2, I said the tease to our next movie was Cotton Candy. And now I will I will double up on that, saying that the other tease to our next movie will be Human Hand Puppet.
Human hand puppet.
Mike, if it comes to you, don't say it out loud. But if not, okay, all right, good. Well, maybe it was a good hit that no one's gonna know yet. Cool, yeah. Your hints
I'll
are
think about that. I'll think about
cotton candy and human hand puppet. We brought the movie up on this episode.
Okay.
Hey, don't say it. Don't say
I won't say anything. I won't say anything.
Mike, thank you very much for joining us on the socials.
Thank you,
Panic
guys.
_room_toys. We look forward to watching you on your journey. And yeah, man, keep an eye on In Madness Pod, man. Hopefully we'll meet you up in the future when we're out in Atlanta, Georgia.
All right, guys.
Much love. Thanks, dude. Take it
Good
easy.
night.
Good night.
See ya.